Okay, let's go.
Welcome back to Bali.
We are still in Bali, getting browner by the day.
Literally, we must have like 10 shades darker since the last episode.
I think every single time we're just going to be darker and darker.
I love it. I love the TN life. We've had a long week, guys. We just hosted
had a
our
long
first
month.
group trip.
Yeah.
And it was
one group
very
trip down.
exciting. Did you enjoy?
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed everybody's presence, actually. That
I
was
enjoyed
really
the
cool.
group. I enjoyed the activities. However, I just don't think I ever anticipated like how hard running a group trip was going to be.
Oh, yeah. It was the biggest challenge.
It was very challenging.
Yeah, being on the ground was a lot.
We made it.
But we did. And Bali 2025
Is launched.
We're returning to do it again.
So 2 different trips in 2025, guys. May and October. We'll see you there.
Can't have been that bad.
I mean, we had good feedback.
Nobody died.
Nobody died. Everybody made it home in one piece. But anyway, we're not going to talk about the group trip today.
No.
We're going to do another 20 questions from 20s to people in their 30s.
Yay! This is my favorite.
I got the feedback. I got the thread, a couple threads.
Okay.
So I've got a couple different questions. So let's just dive straight in.
I just saw our friend Abby that she's turning 30 and she's like, guys, I'm scared.
Is she?
Yeah. And I'm like, Abs, you're going to be fine.
Don't sweat it.
Yeah. That
Like,
is the best.
30s is thriving. 30, dirty,
30,
thriving.
No, flirty.
Oh, flirty.
30, flirty, thriving.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna start with a deep one. Just dive straight in there. What lessons have you learned and you wish you knew in your 20s? Just one lesson. If we do, we're asking it again.
Definitely the peace thing.
Peace?
Basically a thing about how you prioritize peace now over anything else. So like over like people being like rude and dicks to you, like people walking all over you, you're prioritizing peace and it just like feels good. Peace feels good. And it's like what is it? Boundaries.
Setting good boundaries.
The boundaries and the peace go hand in hand.
You really sound like you've been in the
Welcome
in
to my
the
cult.
Bali center.
I mean, everybody on our group chat said they joined my cult.
They
so,
did say
yes.
that. So
Peace.
cult El Helena.
Cult LLs.
El Hells is a beginning. I think for me, my biggest thing is I heard a quote. I think I heard it a little while ago, and it was like, "This too shall pass." And it's just like remembering that everything will pass. Like there might be shitty phases in life, but like don't let it consume you, because the longer you let it consume you, the longer that stage lasts. You know, you have to push through, and you have to like just remind yourself like it's gonna get better. It's always gonna get better. There's always gonna be highs and lows in life. You got to take the highs and the lows together. Unfortunately,
There's also this quote from that's like, my world has ended so many times and then restarted again the next day. It's like, it's true. Just gotta
and
crack
also,
on.
I feel like every time I feel like my life was like over. I was like, it's done, it's over. Like, I'm being so dramatic and I'm like crying my eyes out. When it passes, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fine. You know, you kind of have that realization that like life goes on. And I think once you can give yourself that reality check that you'll get past this and you'll get through this and it'll be better, there's less meltdowns.
It's like being reborn, like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
A phoenix.
Phoenix rising from the ashes.
Okay. Whatever.
Whatever you want to be.
Whatever you want to be, whatever you want to be born as, you can do it.
Yeah.
I
like
think
that.
I think that's a good one. Okay, so that was just a quickie. So let's get into some more questions. When is the time to settle down?
Oh, what?
I think you can settle down any time of life.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer to that. Like some people are happy to do that in their 20s or like at 18. So I know somebody who's been with their partner since school, settled down.
Yeah,
And like,
I know a few people like that as well. I think the thing is that in your 20s, there's this like massive amount of pressure to like get to the finish line of like getting married and starting having a family, and like
and 30s is the finish line.
and 30s is the
basically.
finish line. But like in actuality, like Rihanna had her first kid when she was like 37.
Cameron Diaz just had a baby, 51.
Karen Diaz just had a baby. I mean, obviously some of these people have money and they can afford to do like alternative methods, but like there are ways for this to happen, and there are people who have babies naturally at these ages. Like I think prioritize your health, prioritize your mental health, and things will be fine. Things will all lay out how they should. I don't think there's a set time to settle down.
And I'm really on that thing that's like, you never know when's going to be like your last day of like singleness or last day of like, you might meet someone literally today and like get married or whatever, and then that whole like era is going to be done.
Yeah.
So just like enjoy that whole time.
Because staying single is great.
Yeah.
And I think I spent way too much of my singleness worrying about like when I would not be single.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm in a relationship, and I love being in a relationship, it feels like a very different phase in my life. But like when I was single, I had great times. Like I traveled, I made new friends, I experienced new things, and like all that stuff would have never happened if I don't think I'd even been doing this job now if I wasn't single.
Yeah, true.
So like I think so many amazing things can happen in your single period of your life. Like I think stop looking for that period to end, and like look at it and stop looking at it as a temporary fix, and see it as like this is just your right now. Like it's just where you are in your life, and just live it and enjoy it.
And even on the group trip, the girls were saying like because some people are lonely, which I get, like cool, like get lonely, but like I don't think. No, I think it's fine to
Get lonely. Get lonely.
Not get lonely, but like it's okay to feel lonely.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you need to fill the gap with like
being
on dating apps, constantly swiping, or like going on dates or whatever. Like use other things to fill the gap. Like get a hobby. Like I know that's so cliche, but like for real, like what do you like to do? What did you like to do as a kid? Like something like that, or like platonic relationships.
100%. Like
I think everyone,
like nourish them.
Even on our trip, like everyone made such friendships, and it's like go out and like make some friends. Like if you can't make friends online, like go on a group trip or go to like they have loads of these things now where you can go to like workout classes, and they go for like lunches or whatever. Like all those sort of things to like make friends. Like it may not be your people, you don't have to force it, but like. There's so many other things to fill the lonely gap.
But also like nurture the relationships you already have. Like you have a lot of people have friends and family and things like that you kind of put on the back burner for your relationship, but like nourish those relationships.
Get a pet.
Those people really. Pet.
Yeah, if you're lonely, get a pet.
I mean, yeah, if that's your boat. I'm not really a pet gal. I used to love dogs, but now I'm just like,
I like
smelly.
a dog. Dogs are cute.
Cute for someone else. Cute to like stroke someone else's puppy, but like that's like having a child.
Yeah, taking care of.
Like I've not got the time for that.
Game.
No.
Maybe if I get to the real levels of deep loneliness.
I think your life is quite full though, don't you think?
I'll get a dog.
When I first became single, I think I was lonely. But I think in the last few years of my singleness, like maybe like 3-4 years, I don't think I felt lonely at all.
Yeah, that's me. And sometimes it scares me because I'm like, I just don't feel lonely. Because I think I like my alone time. I like my traveling time. I like my friends' time. And I feel like I have a balance of it all, and I'm quite busy.
But I think that's good
why.
though, because I think when you now meet someone, there's gonna be a standard for that. There's gonna be a standard for you making that time for them. Because I feel like in my relationship now, like I knew there were certain things I wanted, and I was like, well, if you're not gonna give it to me, like, see you later. Because my friends fill my cup, my family fill my cup. I have these nourishing, loving relationships that set a massively high bar. You can't just be coming down here in the gutter, sir.
Do you know what? I saw this thing the other day where, when they ask really old people, like, what do you regret? And this lady said, never get married. She was like, everything I've done, I could have done, like, without being married. But I do feel like those things are kind of like, because I feel like you could get to the end of the line and you could never get married. You could turn back and say, I wish I got married.
Exactly.
So everyone's going to always say something different. But she was basically what she was saying, she's saying don't get married, but I think she was basically saying, like, sometimes, definitely in the older generation, men will hold you back certain times because, women had to stay at home and be the mom and, like, not do their careers. It's a little bit different now. But, like, back then, they couldn't just be like, I'm going to go and, like, do what I want to do and travel the world and whatever, especially with kids. So now, she's probably thinking there's so many things I could have done without being married. But, like...
And I think that also, like, falls into the, like, thing of, like, choose the right partner. Like, and I think especially for women, like, I think we are... Especially when you're single, when you get lonely, you're kind of like, who will choose me? Do you know what I mean? It's not who will I choose.
It's true.
And I think we also need to be, like, no one's going to turn around to a guy and say, she's a nice girl, you should settle down with her. No one's going to say that to a guy. They're going to say to a girl, oh, you should settle down with him. He's a nice guy. He has a good job. He has a good head on his shoulders. What if he's not the man for you? What if you want to climb Mount Everest and he's not a climb Mount Everest kind of guy?
Yeah.
You need to pick a partner who you have... You don't have to have everything the same, but enough the same that you can, like, live simultaneous lives, or you're accepting of each other's lives. Because I think if my boyfriend now was like, oh, I'm not happy about you going to Bali for a month, I'd be like, well, where do we go? Because, this is like my job. And also this is how I've always lived my life. I'm not going to change everything now because I'm in a relationship. Obviously there's, like, give and take.
Yeah.
But I think you need to choose your partner wisely. Choose someone who's going to be your cheerleader and not someone who's going to hold you back.
I think that I found myself
a cheerleader. So yeah, that's my take on that. I mean, we strayed a lot from the question, but
yeah.
you know. Okay, next question is, how do I not get burnt out consistently trying to get good grades, make friends, be in a relationship, and get a career?
Mate.
Well,
I don't even know how to answer that question because
I feel like I'm on the burnt out train as we speak.
I'm just about getting over the being dead 3 days ago.
I was sick, then you were sick. It's also so funny because like when we were on the group trip, like some of the people were saying, someone said to me a few times, like, how do you do all this? Like, how are you surviving? And I was like, I run on vibes. I was like, I don't know how I'm surviving. I think you have to learn to prioritize different things at different times.
I did it last year more than I do it now. That not guilt of like laying in bed all day or having a lazy day and not feeling guilty about like, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to open my laptop today. I don't want to eat healthy today. Like having a day like that and not feeling like it's going to like ruin your whole life or your whole week or whatever it is. I think just allowing that has helped me. But this year, I don't know. Because I've been like...
Do you know what? Like one of my friends, she used to work in PR. She told me this story. Like one day she was like working late. Her boss came into like the office and saw her there. I think she was like 8 o'clock. And he came over, he closed her laptop and said, you're not a surgeon. You're not saving, you're not like curing cancer. No one's going to die if you go to work, if you go home on time. And he's like, so I think you need to pack up and go home. And that's always sat with me because I thought, no one's going to die. If a deadline has to be moved, if the date doesn't happen, no one's going to die.
Yeah.
And I think start seeing the mentality of it doesn't have to all happen at once. It doesn't have to, because at the end of the day by day, you can do something different. You know, like you can master something different. I think prioritize what you need to prioritize in that moment. Like make a list of your priorities and take it step by step. But don't make it the end of the world.
But I also think the friend thing, like your friend should also understand. Like there's a lot, I've only really spoken to like one of my friends since I've been here because everybody else knows that I'm like doing 1,000 things at once. So they're not going to expect me to message them back and call them every day and whatever.
Exactly.
So if you've got exams and school and this and work, your friends aren't going to be like, oh, why is she calling me every day? So that they should also understand that and communicate. Like, I'm not going to be able to call you every day because I'm doing X, Y, Z. So let's meet up at the end of the week or whatever it is.
I mean, I also feel like not having high maintenance friendships is something that is super important in your 30s because you don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
I don't have the time for it. I think putting in like love and work to your friendships is important, but doing it to as far as you can give. Like if you can't give 100 to all your friendships, then don't give 100 to all your friendships. Like give what you can give at that time in that moment.
Yeah.
Even like I think it's really good that you do like your weekly waffle with Ty. I mean that's such a good like
Wednesday
way.
waffle.
Is it Wednesday waffle?
Yeah.
To like keep up with her, but like obviously you don't have time to talk all the time.
Yeah.
So you give like a weekly update. I think that's such a good idea. Like just finding ways to like make your friendships a priority, but not so much a priority that is like hindering. You know,
I mean, I tried to get everybody on it, but everybody was being whack. So I was like, well, y'all missed out.
I don't need a weekly waffle with you guys. I have a daily waffle with you.
Literally, daily dreads of life.
I mean, yeah, sometimes when you run a business. Do you know if you run a business? How can I have better self-esteem?
Self-esteem.
What's the definition of self-esteem?
Isn't it the opposite of self-doubt?
Self-esteem is how we value and perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions, beliefs about ourselves, which can be difficult to change. We might also think of this as self-confidence.
People who have ADHD have low self-esteem.
We definitely have ADHD,
you know that?
but I don't think we have low self-esteem.
Like it is a thing because we doubt ourselves. Because even my therapist is like, you always say, I think. I don't know if I do it so much anymore, but when I first started with her, she'd be like, I ask you something, and then you'll say, blah, 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 I think.
So you're kind of like doubting what you've just said.
Yeah, so I don't want to like 100% say something because then I'm like, oh, that might be wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like on the fence with it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh dear. I mean, I definitely think I've gone through like waves of self-doubt like throughout my life. And I think like obviously every now and again you might have a period where you have that self-doubt. But I think like working on yourself is like the only key.
Yeah, whether that's like therapy or just doing your own like journaling and like figuring out what the cause of it is as well. Because like for me, there was so many things that were like the cause of that. And when you kind of like disperse that and get rid of the causes and you're kind of like, okay, like I'm not doing so bad. But I think you're naturally going to get it. Even with like work stuff, you're going to get imposter syndrome, like so many things like to have low self-esteem about. And a lot of people get it with work as well.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
like, oh my God, I'm doing this job. What am I doing? I'm literally like that every single day.
Yeah, same.
But like, I think also you just don't let it consume you.
I think that's the thing. I think like there's like having like confidence, and then there's like some people that I know. Like one of my best friends, I think she's probably one of the most confident people I've ever met. But I think that's because her whole life as a child, her mum was always kind of like, you can be and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like you're always gonna be great. And I think instilling that in her mind from young made her think, well, it doesn't matter because I'll do it.
That's quite nice.
You know, and I think it's important as a child, like to tell kids, like, you're good, and you're not just like, oh, as a boy, you're like good at sports, but, like just everything, like compliment them, make them feel good about themselves, like make sure they think that they can achieve the world. Because, and even if they only become like, I don't know, any job is good. Any job is an achievement at the end of the day, because everyone has like their levels. Like for some people, like going to work in like Sainsbury's as a cashier could be the best job in the world for them. Yeah. And that could be something that they want to achieve. And I think as long as you're achieving like what's good for you, the world standards of like success don't matter. You know? True. So I think it's important to like, I think self-work is self-work is like the key really. Like when I went to therapy, I don't think I really knew that I was not confident. I thought I was like this mad confident person. I had so much like self-worth and self-love. And then like, I think I had a couple sessions and I was like, do I even like, then I was like, do I actually even like myself? Like, I didn't even know if I liked myself because I was saying all these things, and it's kind of like you, I was saying all these things like, I think this, or maybe I'm this, and maybe I'm that, and saying all these things that are like not pleasant about myself essentially. And my therapist was like, I think you need to like work on like speaking nicer to yourself, being kinder to yourself, because if you're not speaking kindly to yourself, you're only going to be in negativity, you know?
Yeah, I think we've said that before about the kind words to yourself. I think that is key. And like believing in your source, like the whole fake it till you make it thing, like I do think that is like delusion, like actually being delusional
is a salulu.
Yeah, like I know it's like a TikTok thing, but like
no, but bro, we delusionally set up a Bali trip last year and here we are in Bali. 18 people have flown out. We had, and like realistically, like we had no business running a group trip.
Yeah.
Although I've hosted one before, I've never knew any of the back stuff. Like I never knew what was going on in the background. We delusionally were like, yeah, we're going to Bali, sell out. Bro, we've sold out Bali, we've sold out Marrakesh. Fucking high five to us, in fact.
And done multiple like spreadsheets and cash finance things that were like, none of us are.
Like we wear all these hats and like we're doing it well.
Doing it
well.
Yeah, literally. Like I just think you sometimes just have to have like a little sense of sprinkle of delusion to like get through life. And facts. I feel like that also with dating, because sometimes when I meet a guy and like they don't not they don't like me, but they like ghost or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, that's on you because I'm great.
Yeah, no, like, facts.
So I must be wrong with you because I'm great.
And I think also with dating, like you kind of have to be like that.
But not conceited. There's a line of like, you know, like being like, I'm great and you're lost. And then also like, I'm too big for my boots.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of like, I think knowing your worth is mad important because like, even some of our friends that will tell us about their dating lives and I'm like, bro, you don't like this guy. You're literally just here because it's someone that's showing you an interest.
The loneliness.
But if you have that self-worth, that self-esteem, you wouldn't be doing that.
Maybe we should make a self-esteem camp, like a retreat.
Who wants to come on our self-esteem retreat?
Self-esteem cult.
Please let us know in the comments.
We could do like a day, like self-esteem. It has to be in London.
Like a workshop. I feel like we could do like London and New York because I feel like we have a lot of followers in New York too. That would be
so cute.
How do I identify a bad manager / boss at work?
Oh, I've had so
Well, it says during a job interview, but in general, I think it's hard to do that in the interview.
Because they always like, hi, how are you? Oh, it's going to be so great. And then they like work you to the bone and you're a slave, basically. I've had the worst managers. One of my managers like had it out for me. Like she hated me. And it was so obvious that she hated me. She gave me a bad like review thingy. And like everyone was like, how, like, I don't understand, like what's wrong with her, mate. On this one, I would say like Gen Z have got it kind of down because they don't take it. They're just like, I'm going to quit. And I think as a millennial, you'll probably just be like, oh, I'll just write it out until I get a better job, you know. Whereas like a Gen Z person will be like, it's 5 o'clock, bye. Do you know what I mean? I think with that, they have got it right because I think that we are overworked and underpaid a lot of the time, especially in like office jobs. Yeah. And I think that
it's really important to like know your worth in the workplace.
But how do you tell a manager from an interview? I think
from an interview you can't.
You have to ask the right questions. I think from the right questions you can kind of like a little bit tell, like asking questions about the team and also about the turnaround of the team. I think that's a good question to ask.
Yeah.
Because if they're like people are coming and going every month or whatever, you know that like obviously people don't want to stay in that team and there's a reason why. So that kind of question I think is probably good to ask, and maybe like what the manager's like expectations are, and if they micromanage, like that sort of thing is probably important to ask, because you can ask those questions in interviews.
100%. And I think going into a job, just as if you go into a relationship, stop asking do they want me and start asking do you want them.
Facts.
Do you want to work in this office? What does this office have to offer? Like, what does this job have to offer you? Are they going to give you additional training? Is there a good work-life balance? Like, you need to know these things, because at the end of the day you're going to give up so much of your time there. And I'll never forget like the job that I went to that was like one of the worst, like it ruined my self-esteem, everything, and I got fired from this job. On the first interview, I should have known, looking back in hindsight, that this manager had it out for me, because I got hired by the VP, the vice president of the company, basically the founder. He hired me before my manager got to the interview. So my manager got to the interview 30 minutes late, and by that point, the guy had already basically wanted to hire me. And then when he got there, he was pissed. He was like, oh, you started this interview without me, blah, 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 blah. Started asking all these questions and kind of gave me some Aggie energy. Bro, the next 6 months, this guy was on my back. He literally threw me under the bus so many times for things he had done, made me get the blame. Or when I left, on my exit, I remember one day I went to the managing director and I was like, is there a problem? Because I just feel like there's a weird energy. This was my last day in the office. I had no idea this was going to be my last day in the office. And he goes, oh, let's have a chat. Go into this other room. He then calls my direct manager in and he's like, oh, your 6 months probation period is coming like to an end and we're like basically debating if we're going to keep you. And he was like, I really, really like you. I think you're great. However, like yours and your manager, Lawrence, isn't great. And I was just like...
Is that his name, Lawrence?
Yeah, his name was Lawrence. I'm baiting him up because he was an absolute asshole. And so I don't even give a shit.
Watch out, Lawrence. She's out to get you.
And then he was like, bro, he started laying into me. You're bad at your job. You're bad at this. You're rude. You don't give... he was like, oh, you're too opinionated. I was like, am I not here to like give my opinion? He was just like laying... And then even down to the point where I was so like... He laid on me so hard and I was so shocked I started to cry. He didn't give a fuck. I'm still crying. He's like listing out all these things that he doesn't like about me. Oh, and so bad that the guy that owned the company had to say to him, stop talking. Like, it's too much. Like, she's clearly upset and you're like still laying into her. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
So like, I'm just like, I think if you can feel a bad energy and a bad vibe from someone from the get-go, like trust your instincts, because I knew from day one he was going to be a problem. And like, also it wasn't just me. Once since I've left that office, other people in the office have come forward to me and been like, he was sexist, he was racist, he was highly inappropriate, he screamed at people. But I kind of ignored these things because I thought I wanted to work there.
Yeah.
You know, so...
And no job is worth it.
No job is worth your self-esteem.
I want to work for Base and Shay Mitchell. That looks so fun. And the Anda.
She's just so great.
Yeah, their office, I'm not going to lie, looks like...
I think every product she releases also is just great.
If y'all recruiting...
If you want to send some luggage, sponsor the
I'll
podcast.
Work for the Anda.
The Anda. What is the Anda?
I can't talk about it until we're like sponsored by them. Then
okay,
we
fine.
Can talk about it.
One day you'll hear about the Anda.
Oh my god, imagine the dream.
We're gonna get sponsored by someone soon. I know it. Okay, next question. Hi, my question is quite bizarre. I'm 29 and I want some advice from someone older. So I've always been someone that prioritizes female friendships and then gets into a relationship. I don't want to date someone just because I'm alone. However, what I do if I don't like the woman around me.
What do I do?
What do I do if I don't like the women around me? Should I just be friends with them because I need friends? Or should I elevate them as though they're my friends for life? I don't really understand this question.
It, because I feel like my cousin went through a similar situation recently where she like didn't really have her tribe, and it was a thing where she could have like forced those friendships and like she had a bad time like on her birthday and stuff like that, and like she could have forced those friendships and been like, do you know what, I don't really have many people around me right now, like let me just like force these people, even though she felt bad vibes from them. She was like, do you know what, I'm gonna cut all these people off, they're not good for me, it doesn't feel good, and like start again and naturally like gravitate to people who are for you. I think basically that they're trying to say like the women, they don't like the women.
She doesn't like her friends.
Yeah.
But she's staying around them because she's single
and she has no one. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, right.
I mean, it's a hard one, I think, because at the end of the day, like it's hard to be alone and be single and have no friends, because then actually like you know, like what you do in your weekends and stuff, like you're just basically working, which is kind of like sad. But then it's like there is a lot of other ways, like we were saying, to like make friends. So maybe there's other ways, but I wouldn't stick around to people that you hate. That's bad.
I agree. I think 2 things. One, get more comfortable doing things and being alone.
Yeah,
The person who's going to be with you for the rest of your life is you, ultimately. And you need to be comfortable and happy and enjoy your own self, your own company, because otherwise it's always going to be a battle of seeking out other people, whether it be a platonic or non-platonic relationship. So I think you need to get really comfortable and work on enjoying it. And when I remember when I was young, I couldn't do anything alone. When I was like in my early to mid 20s, I couldn't do anything alone. Even down to like, I remember I'd get on the bus from somewhere and I'd have to call someone and be on the phone my whole bus journey because didn't like being on my own.
Yeah.
And then I think I started off small. I started off like, okay, I'm going to go to cinema by myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for dinner by myself. I'm going to go to the park by myself. Then I went on a little weekend by myself somewhere else. And then eventually I got to a point where I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is great. I enjoy this.
And also doing things on your own where you can meet other people. This is why I rate Moms, because she'll go to like dance class, like a salsa class. She'll go to like different things where you can also meet other people. So like you're not only going to like the cinema or like for dinner, you're going to like actual things where other people are at, where you can potentially like meet someone there as well. So that's kind of like good things to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, being comfortable to do it. There's so many things now. There's like running clubs. You can go on your own and like meet other females. Like, I just, don't tolerate, because some girls are haters. Have you not seen all these videos of like female friends?
Not even just females, males as well.
Say.
I've seen examples of like some of my male friends having to cut off their other male friends because they're fucking haters. And I think if you feel bad energy from people, you don't need to be around that, because what you are surrounded by is what your life will be. You know, if you're surrounded by toxic people who are bad vibes, your life is only going to be toxic bad vibes, you know?
I feel like I've never really had that, luckily, because I don't know, I've never really had friends who like...
I have, for sure.
...were bad vibes like that.
I wouldn't say like I had bad vibe friends, but I would say like when I was much younger, I was definitely a big people pleaser. So I would have friends who would like kind of walk all over me a little bit, and I just would tolerate it. And then I eventually just got to the point where I was like, cool, I'm going to cut you off now. Like, I've done... And then and a lot of those people have come back to me now and apologized and said, like, you were right to cut me off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that... I don't think you should ever blame the victim. But I also think, like, you have to take some kind of responsibility in the situation. And I have to take responsibility for the fact that I was willing to let people treat me like shit because they were my friend, you know? And like, I think you have to have boundaries within your friendships and your relationships of any kind, really. And I think I wasn't very good at setting those boundaries before.
Yeah, but I mean, if you hate someone, don't be around them.
Yeah.
That's not enjoyable for you either.
Yeah, why? Just to not be lonely.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you said, you can find friends
anywhere. And there's like Bumble friends now as well.
Friends. But you can, like, it's like you said, you can go to like salsa class.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to like running club. There's so much. Go to the gym. Do a class at the gym.
There's so many things in like communities that you can like, do.
Because I feel like even when I first joined the gym, I went on my own and I started going to classes. I made so many friends.
Yeah.
Just like, and even though we would only be gym friends, I mean, I could have taken those friendships further, but I just didn't. So like, it is possible.
I don't think I've ever met a female friend though, like, out.
What, on the roadside?
No. Hey, want to be my friend? Okay. Not on the roadside.
Not that I can think of at the moment, but like...
More like Instagram.
Instagram friends, like later on in life, I made Instagram friends. But I mean, I guess before that, I'm trying to think, like, it was always a circumstance thing, like...
Or like a group, and then they've come together like another group. Exactly. Yeah, I've never made like... on the roadside friends. I did actually make a friend who was my best friend for a while, my ex-best friend now, for like years now. We met in a house party.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is kind of random. We were like 18.
Yeah.
And I was with like another group of friends, and she was there with another group of friends, and then me and her just like gravitated and was like chatting, whatever. And then we ended up being like besties.
Oh, mad.
I know. That was kind of
Sometimes
random.
it just happens,
It was like kind of like a move to you vibe. It was like, well, no, it wasn't. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, because you don't really like go somewhere and then, like, leave, like, you don't go to a house party and then leave with like a best friend.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, she's not my friend anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, the next question was actually, what's the best way to make friends? So I think we answered that kind of thing.
I also think females are more open now.
I agree.
More than, like, definitely your 30s than they were like in my 20s. I don't feel like a lot of females cared about friends then. Now people are more open to be like, oh, hey, like, what's your Instagram? Like, what are you into? Oh, I go to this class. And like,
exactly.
People are like more into that.
Yeah, I agree.
Before.
I agree. What changed when you turned 30?
I don't know. I think I think a lot changed, but then it didn't. Like, I think things just got dropped. You know, you just like let go of a lot of things. You're just like, life's more fun. I have cash. Woo.
I think when I turned 30, what changed? I think like a lot of stuff changed for me just before I turned 30.
Yeah,
so like in my late
same.
20s, I would say like I think between
Transitional
25 to
period.
30 is quite a transitional period. And I think when you get to 30, you kind of just hit the peak of that transition.
Yeah.
And like for instance, like obviously that's when me and my boyfriend broke up.
Yeah.
That's when I got like fired. I went traveling.
Literally
So like I
same.
had this like quite transitional period from around like 27 to like 30 where I was like meeting all these new people, trying all these new things. And I think I went from like a very rigid lifestyle before that of like thinking I need to get married, I need to have a job, I need to like do all these things, to like, oh, actually life could be different. And like opening up my eyes, and someone called it my Saturn return. I got, apparently, I don't really know much about astrology, but someone told me that I had my Saturn return around this time, which is basically when like Saturn does its full loop in your lifetime. And it's basically when you have all these transitional
I think mine was
changes.
28, actually.
So mine was around 28, 29. Yeah, I think for our age group, it was around that time.
It's based on your date of birth.
Yeah, but like we would all have it around the same time because we would be like around 28 years. That was when Saturn's back in its spot. Yeah. So like it would be kind of around the same time for most of us. And then I think in that time, a lot of my friends changed. A lot of that transition with friendship has really even just kind of come to a close with some people recently. But like I think the distance between me and those friends started around that time. I think like my whole image of what I think about myself changed. My whole image of what I thought about life, everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed. In fact, like I think, and also like you have your second puberty, right?
This is exactly what I was just thinking. I dropped that whole teenager thing. Like I think I was so rigid beforehand. I was, when you're like 15, 16, your parents like, do this, you're like, no. And I think in my 20s, it was the same thing where like, you're like cutting people off, like you don't care. You're like, fuck everyone. Like you're still in that kind of mindset. And then when it got to 30s, I think in some sense I got a bit softer, but like softer but harder at the same time. Because harder in the sense of like, you don't take any shit, but like, you're not like being mean about it. You're just like, I don't take no shit, but I don't care, so like bye kind of thing.
I think I learned that like telling the truth doesn't necessarily have to be mean. Do you know what I mean? Because it always used to be like, oh, I'll always be honest with you, but like, or I don't have to tell you. For instance, let's just say I don't like your boyfriend. Let's just say that's the case. Maybe in my like early 20s, mid 30s, I might be like, I don't know about your boyfriend, like he's not good vibes, blah, blah, blah. Now I would just be like, 100. My attitude, 100. And now I would be like, I think I'd just be, if that makes you happy, I would just lump it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd even bring it up. Like, and I think I'd just ask sensible questions if I had any red flags. I'd ask sensible questions, but I wouldn't ever indicate that I don't like this person, because at the end of the day, that's your relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think I also became more patient. Like,
I agree.
In a sense of like, understanding people more for what they are. Like, I think in your 20s, someone like says something to you and you're like, oh, this person like hates me or whatever it is. But really, like in your 30s and you're like, someone says something to you and you're like, okay, this is their problem or something they're going through. I understand it more like that rather than like it being a me problem and taking it on myself. It's more like, okay, this is something that they're doing or they're going through, or like, and then also like, what's your contributing factor? I think you think more deeply into things and how relationships work, rather than, I think in my 20s it was very rigid of like, that can't be me, I'm not doing anything wrong, but like you're very like strong and like headstrong in that 100%. In that mind.
And I think even after like dating certain people, after the like, if it ended, I no longer sit and think, okay, well, he did all these things. I now kind of sit and think, okay, these are the things that I did, and these are the things that I would like to improve on with my next partner. Because I think that you letting go of things you can't control, like, right? Like, you can't control how someone treats you, but you can control your boundaries. You can control how you treat them. You can control how you react to them. So, like, and trying to become more emotionally intelligent, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, lots of stuff changed, guys.
It did.
But like when I say the second puberty, did you hear about that? It's like basically like your body like changes again. Like, you have puberty in your teens, right? And that's when you start to like develop boobs, or that you might get acne, whatever. They're basically saying like when you hit 25, like that's when your womanly body really comes through. So like a lot of people's body completely changes around the age of 25.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. Mine was probably a bit later, I guess.
I think mine was more towards 30 than 25.
Yeah.
I think I gained weight, but not bad weight. I think I was super slim in my mid-20s. But I think I gained a more womanly figure. Like, I gained a bit more thighs, a bit more
Yeah.
ass. Like, not in a bad sense, but like, I gained a bit more body. Body,
yeah.
yaddy, yaddy.
Yeah.
You know? So, oh, good one. Is being friends with your ex actually okay?
I think
And the answer is no.
We
No, I'm
literally had this
joking.
conversation last week with Leash. Like, I mean, we all have different opinions. Then
I think it all depends on
maybe
the
not.
circumstance too.
Yeah, 100%.
I
What's
think-
their situation? What's your
yeah.
situation? How did it end? Like, what's everybody's feelings in the situation? Because if you both still have feelings, then
It's
like,
not a friendship, is
yeah,
it?
it's never gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, it's never gonna be a thing like that. And then it's kind of like an attachment sort of thing. Or if one person has an expectation or is in the back of their mind thinking, oh, maybe we'll get back together. Like, I'm cool with one of my exes now, and like I'll sit next to him at like a group dinner.
But you're not
like,
friends though, are you?
Yeah, like we're cool. I'm not gonna call him up.
No,
and be like,
yeah,
"Do you wanna
that's
come
what I
around
mean.
for
So
a
like, if you
pasta?"
see him, you're cool, you're cordial, but he's not your mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more that like, because obviously he's like in a relationship, whatever. I would never like be weird and be like, should we go for dinner? Do you know what I mean? But I mean, if he called me up and was like, do you want to go for dinner? I think I'd kind of be like, where are we going with this?
Exactly. I think that's because that's because in the background, like, you had something that was beyond a platonic relationship. So like, if you're now going for dinner, it always feels suspicious.
Yeah, and also depends how long that person was in your life too. I think.
But then I don't think the gap matters.
What gap?
Because like, you could date someone for like, let's say you date someone for like a year, you're together for a year, and then you break up, and then 5 years later you bump into each other, and you're like, oh, let's go for coffee, meet up, you catch up. There's still always going to be that underlying tone of you were together. It's never going to be, I don't think it can ever be completely platonic.
Really?
No, I don't. Like, how? How can we, if you've been naked, we've been naked together, how can we be platonic?
Me personally, that ex, like I would be like, coffee?
Maybe you though.
later. Bye.
But you don't know what's going through
that's
his
true.
mind.
Yeah, that is true.
So like, even if you're not attracted, because I can honestly say like, probably like 75% of my exes, if I look at them now, I'm like, brother,
same. Yeah, me too. I mean, not in a rude way, because you're
rudely.
You're beautiful in your own ways, but like, just not my type.
Not my type
anymore.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I think is I don't really think I have a type, because like all my partners have been very, very different. People that I've dated, none of them really look the same. However, I can say that like, a lot of them I look back at now, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I don't judge people for being friends with their exes. Some people are in the same
Hmm.
friendship groups and stuff, but I just think everyone has to be wary of like, are they really over it? Is this really done and put to bed? Like, are both people like moved on? Because that's also hard for like the next relationship.
That's what I was going to say. I think the relationships going forward is difficult. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine being friends with my ex and my boyfriend being okay with it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
yeah.
I think it's different if it was like a little flirtation, like you went on 1 or 2 dates, nothing really happened. Cool. But if you were in a relationship with this person, there were feelings, I think that that's quite difficult for someone else to handle. And I don't think also your partner should have to deal with that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
true.
you should like, it's like there was that whole thing people was going around, and it was like, this guy said to his wife, like, do you think you're capable of cheating on me? And she said, absolutely. She said, everybody's capable of cheating. It's just about not putting yourself in a circumstance where you would cheat.
Yeah.
And like, I think spending time with your ex, even having conversations with your ex, is putting yourself in a circumstance to potentially cheat.
Yeah.
Because what if one night you and your man have this mad argument, and then you call your ex like, oh, bang in bed? Who knew? You know, because
you don't have to be bang
you
in
don't
bed.
have to be bang in bed, but what I'm saying is it's easy to go back to something that's comforting.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself in a situation that's not the best.
I guess you never know that person's like intentions either. Yeah, it's a hard one.
I think
it's good to be cordial with your ex.
I think there's nothing wrong with being
don't be at
cordial.
war, but like maybe don't be going around their house for dinner every
100%.
night.
I think all my exes were cordial.
Yeah.
If I saw them, some of them I still follow on Instagram. If I saw them tomorrow, I'd be like, how are you, whatever. But would I call them up? Would I go for dinner with them?
It's not appropriate.
It's not appropriate.
How about
And
happy
even if I
birthdays?
wasn't, I think happy birthdays are fine.
Really?
Yeah, I think happy birthdays is fine. As long as you don't go into too much deep, like, I'll always love you. Like,
See, I've opted out of the happy birthdays because I'm like,
That's
it
fine,
opens
though.
up a bigger conversation sometimes, and I'm like,
I think for me, most of my exes are like quite a long time ago now. So like we've passed that whole like opening up a conversation thing. It's like it's purely just a happy birthday text.
okay.
But also when I say that my
I
exes,
just send my thoughts in a happy birthday. I'm like, happy birthday.
thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
Like, ding.
But also I think my exes that did me dirty, we don't talk. Because I think that often we give people too much grace.
Yeah.
And if someone did me dirty, you don't deserve my time and you don't deserve my presence. So, bye.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know? But the ones that we ended up on like reasonable terms or like just didn't work out, whatever, we're cool.
I don't think I've ever had a good term.
I mean, me and me and my ex, that's also your mate, right. We didn't end on bad terms. we
I mean,
I wouldn't say it was bad terms. I wouldn't say it was good terms. You know?
Yeah.
I'll just say we ended on terms.
Yeah.
And now if we see each other, we're like, cool.
Yeah.
Unless he comments on my Instagram and then he's mean.
I don't regularly see my exes out and about. I'm quite lucky.
I don't. Only him.
Yeah.
All the others I never see.
Yeah, some of them I've never seen again.
Same.
It's been quite nice.
Love it. Because imagine you're just walking down the road, like, and you just bump into them, like, what?
Yeah, no.
Also, I would hate to, like, bump into my ex on a day that I just looked fucked.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And they're just going to be like, shut it downhill, man. I need you to see me and just be like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I can be like, no. You know?
Yeah, you still need to look great when you see them.
Oh, God, yeah.
But yeah, don't be friends.
I think it's a hard pass for me. Okay, I think we've got time for like one or two more. How do you deal with all the external pressures? I think that like just generally, I think they're talking about like society, family, that kind of stuff. How do you deal with that?
It is hard. It is hard. You really have to silence it out because definitely I think we've talked about this before, like social media, like there's pressure from everywhere. Pressure to like have enough money, pressure to like be on holiday all the time, pressure to have all the designer, have the car, buy a house at 20, like all these things that are like not realistic. I think though now, definitely with TikTok, like there's things are becoming like a more realistic way of life. It's like, I'm 20, I'm 40, I don't have a house. Like, do you know what I mean? People are showing that side a bit more.
Yeah.
So, like, it is hard because I don't know how like the younger generation do it because I would crumble. I would probably, like, 10 years ago, I would be like, I'm 22, I don't have a house, I don't have a car, I don't have a husband, like, oh my God.
And even just, like, outside of social media, like, my mom was like, I've given up on her having kids, like... I'm like,
That's
bro,
rude.
I'm like,
Debs.
I'm not even that old, Debs. Like, what? And I guess it's because I'm always like, I'm very much on the page of like, if I don't have kids, it's not the end of the world. And I think because I have that mentality of like, I'll have them, maybe I won't have them, she just thinks in her mind like, oh, it's not a priority. And because it's not a priority, it's not going to happen. And I think that's because for her, it was a priority because it was a priority.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and I think only because of that, she's just like, oh, I guess Ashlee won't have kids then, maybe, you know? So I think that's why, but I think...
That's still a pressure.
It is definitely a pressure.
And I also have like certain friends who like, they have a lot of family pressures, like certain cultures and stuff. Like it's insane. Like
the pressure is getting worse.
Some people like don't want kids right now or whatever it is. And they've been like married and babies just because their families are like, you need to do this. And that's really mad. Like obviously the older generation, like they're set in their ways, so they're not gonna really learn. But like you're essentially ruining like your child's life and the path of their life because you're like, you need to do this.
And even like cultural pressures, because I feel like in a lot of the Black community, people are very much like, your parents want you to be with, and actually a lot in the Asian community, I'd say the Black community and the Asian community, I feel like parents are very much on this wave of like, you need to be with someone who's like you. So if you're Nigerian, they want you to be with a Nigerian. If you're Eritrean, they want you to be with Eritrean. You're Chinese, they want you to be with a Chinese person. But like, because we mix so much now, people are really, really like branching out. And a lot of people's parents do not like that.
Really?
Yeah. I know someone who's like, mum almost disowned them because they were marrying someone outside their culture.
Oh, wow.
I know more than one person actually that's not happened to. So like, and I think that is a massive pressure. Like the idea that you could potentially lose your whole family because you marry someone that you've fallen in love with because they're from a different country.
Yeah, that's wild. It's like
Like
2024.
Yeah, but like what we have to remember is like, especially like in the Western world, I feel like people mixing is like much more normal.
Yeah.
But like when we go back to like, when people's parents are coming from like China, for instance, moving to the UK or moving to America, in their mind, their mentalities are still the same. Their mentalities are, we have certain like cultural values. We have certain things that we want for our children. What are you doing going off and marrying this American?
This is why they move to the communities that are like all those people
Exactly,
in that community. Or
exactly.
go to churches that have all the same people in that community.
And
like,
even we saw it on that documentary.
Yeah.
What was that girl's like, what did Bethany do or something? About this girl who's basically like, I believe she's Korean, and she starts dating this other guy who's also Korean.
Yeah.
But he is poor, and her family are doing really well for themselves, and she murders her family.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because she wants to be with this guy, and I'm just like, what the hell? But also like, not to like forgive what she did or anything, but like I'm saying, when you are young and all these pressures are on you, you can end up doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
Because you're not rational yet. You're not like rational enough to like understand this situation. I mean, there's adults that do irrational things, but I'm saying like these things happen because these pressures get so heavy.
I think you just have to set the bar also. Like, what is your level of success, and take the pressure off that. Like, if your success is here, then that's fine. Like, you reach whatever you need to reach, like, and not what everybody else expects.
And I think, like, try to focus on living your life for yourself. I think a lot of the time we become really obsessed with living a life that we're told we should be living, what society tells us, what our friends tell us, what our family tell us. Like, what is it actually that you want?
Yeah.
Because you might want to be a train driver, or you might want to be living on a beach in Hawaii.
And you might never want to own a house. And then everyone's like, oh my God, you're 37.
You may never want to marry. Maybe you want to be polyamorous. I don't know.
What's that?
When you have like many partners, no?
Okay.
I hope that I'm right about that, but who knows? But like whatever it is that you want, focus on that.
Yeah.
Focus on what you want. Focus on what you want from your life, because you're the person who has to live it. And I know so many people who have regrets, like because they just do what other people tell them their whole life, and it's like, what? One last question, because the time is a ticking on It's a Podcast. Oh my God. Okay, this one's really hot. I don't know if it's a question, but it says 30 plus here. Stop being a hoe in your 20s. Every fun you had will make you regret and cringe so bad later. Pick one partner and stick with them forever. I mean, I don't agree with that.
Really? I feel cringe when I think of certain like people I've dated and things I've done in my 20s.
I think be more selective about who you lay down with.
Yeah, well, not lay down, but I was just going on dates with anyone just for the sake of it. And then I was like...
Why are you doing this?
Now I think back, I'm like, I really had the energy.
I think this is a harsh version of...
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to pick one person and settle down forever. I don't think that's what the key is. But I think be more selective with who you spend your time with.
Yeah, for sure.
Right
and
way.
Also, I believe in that whole like energy exchange thing. Like, if you're gonna be with somebody, like, I think even if it's like a quick thing or whatever, like, just don't be with anyone. Like, some people's energy is like bad.
I think I agree with like, and I'm not hoe shaming. Like, do what you want, but I think if
we love the hoes.
If you I got hoes. Anyway, I think be selective with who you spend your time with in every capacity.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, like it's an energy exchange, whether that be a sexual partner, loving partner, platonic partner, whatever. Be selective about who you spend your energy with. I think we said this in multiple different ways now. Like, just be selective about what you want and who you spend your time with.
Yeah.
You know, don't go with the energy drainers and like, also, please, for the love of God, pay attention to the red flags.
Yeah.
Because even for myself, like, this is me not, I'm not judging. I'm saying I was also this person. Like, I ignored massive red flags.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's some relationships that could have, if I had been like honest with myself from the get-go,
saved a lot of
I would have
time.
saved a lot of time and a lot of heartache and a lot of cash.
Yeah, that too.
You know, like, read the room, guys. Read the room.
Don't force it as well. Because I force a lot of things for no reason.
It's not necessary, is it?
Be better, do better. You're going to look better.
Facts. Prioritize your skincare, people. That's something you should be prioritizing.
Let's talk about this, because I actually never started doing skincare until I was turned 30.
I started only in my late 20s. Before that, I used to wash my face with water and soap.
Bit of St. Ives apricot scrub.
I didn't even have that.
Oh, wow.
I just used to like use water and a cotton pad and then cream my face with like Vaseline or something. Nivea.
Not the Vaseline.
Any cream that was available.
Friends the other day that I was out with, and they're all looking shiny and their skin looking so good. I'm like,
whatever
what
was
do you
available.
use? They're like Vaseline, all of them. I'm like, you guys are gonna like burn and crumble in the sun. Like,
bro.
You're gonna be like a raisin.
I didn't know. Like, I didn't know. But it was when so after I came off the pill for several years. So, oh my God, please don't go on the pill. Please don't go on the pill, for the love of God. I came off the pill and I had after like 10 years, and I had loads of side effects. And I started breaking out for the first time in my entire life, and that's when I started doing skincare. I got really into skincare after that, because I was like, my skin is fucked. And then since then, I've never looked back. I've loved my journey.
I was just like, I'm 30 now. I should probably start doing something.
I mean, you look pretty good considering you only started in the 30s. Like,
thanks. I went to the face gym yesterday.
Me too. But okay, guys, I think that's all we have time for.
Yeah.
But let us know if you liked the questions, and actually, if you have questions,
please
leave questions, because then we can answer those questions, and that would actually be better.
I love the question apps.
I like question apps too.
Maybe like a travel question.
What I might do is I might put like some questions on my story.
Yeah.
So if you follow me on Instagram, Ashlee Major Moss, then I'll give you some questions. Give me some questions. Okay.
Bye.